All right, so good evening, and thank you for joining me once again on Off the Court, your basketball show specifically dedicated to be able to discuss all things basketball, both local and international, and most importantly, just to be able to look at aspects of the game that lead to nothing but development. This evening is an exciting one because I'm joined by basketball minds, people that love the game of basketball, people that are finding their footing in the game, people that are creating a mark in the game, carving out their own path in a very special way that is not only impacting their lives and those that they're involved with within the game of basketball, but carving a path in the sense that they're also getting to start to access opportunities and growth in certain areas of their lives, and they will be individually sharing their journey within the game of basketball and so far what it is that has made them to be where they are, where the game is concerned. Now, remember, we talk about all things basketball here. We've had the opportunity to discuss with coaches, players, and everybody else, and all kinds of different stakeholders. And these people that I'm talking to this evening are multifaceted individuals that are not only talented, but skilled in different ways. Now, I will not individually start introducing them one by one, but I will take liberty to just allow them to introduce themselves as we start this conversation. So, as you can see, it's quite a packed house tonight. So, allow me first of all to start with the ladies on the program, just to be able to create some color, and just to create some flow. You know how women do these things. So I'll ask Chimwemwe right now just to take the floor and be able to start with the introductions and just tell us who you are briefly. So please remember to unmute your microphone, Chimwemwe, once you start speaking so that we can hear you. Okay, great.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Wendy, for having us on your show, having me on your show again. So my name is Chumwemwe Mwanza. I'm based in the Copper Belt in Angola. I'm a basketball player and coach and social entrepreneur here. So that means that I like to use basketball as a tool to create social change in my community. Aside from that, I have a lot of other basketball hats in the federation as it comes to maybe doing first aid with the federation medical team and the coaching aspect as well. Yeah, so that's about me.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. And I love the fact that you mentioned the issue of social change when we talk about your basketball. Now, let us go to another interesting woman that we have this evening with us, and that is no other than Chalwe. So, Chalwe, the floor is yours. Just kindly and briefly introduce us.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me on the show. My name's Smangaliso Chalwe. I am an active player and now transitioning into coaching, which has been really exciting. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a logistics company here on the Copper Belt in Kitwe, in particular. Have been playing basketball for over 15 years now. Yeah, I play for Lynx, 2-time Copper Belt champions, hopefully trying to go for a third. So that's about me.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlie, for that introduction. Coach Dosh, as everybody knows you, please, you are at liberty to just take the floor and introduce yourselves for the sake of those that may be meeting Coach Dosh for the first time.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mr. Wendy. I was always asking myself to say, when am I going to be part of that show? Oh yeah. My real name's Chansa Henry Chanda, aka Coach Dosh, as many people know me by. I'm a young coach based in Lusaka. I started off playing basketball in a very small town called Mpika in Mchinga province. Then I came to Lusaka. Then for me, basketball was a thing that drove me away from the vices. So when I came to Lusaka, in PHI to be precise, there's a company called Ntendere, and I saw how a lot of youths were going astray because of lack of fun fields to do. So I came up with a basketball academy called Thundercats Youth Basketball Academy, which grew, and that was the journey of my basketball coaching career. And I'm now working with the American International School and Dolphins Basketball Club and the academy as well. And now yep.
Okay, interesting stuff there from Coach Dosh. Quite a lengthy resume, but we will be delving into it later on as we continue with the show. So allow me to bring a gentleman they call Baby Police. I don't know how many people he's arrested or where the name Baby Police came from. But anyway, we'll get to find out on the show where the name Baby Police came from. So Harrison, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Sawin, for having me for this opportunity. Yeah, my name is Harrison Band, as you know me, aka Baby Police. I've been playing basketball for the last 16 years. Yeah, I've been very active. I'm also a volunteer coach. I've worked with a couple of youth teams. I'm also a co-founder and the current executive director of an NGO called Mano, which teaches a lot of stuff that affects the youth in the community. This is a fully registered NGO with the Ministry of Community Development. Yeah, basically that.
Okay, interesting stuff there. So you can see that we have executive directors, basketball players, entrepreneurs, coaches, and everybody else on the show this evening. And this efficates the point I mentioned earlier on, that the show is going to be like no other, and it's going to be a full house here. So let me now get to, as you can see, the list keeps growing and growing and growing. So let me now go to Zico Tendai. So Tendai, the floor is yours. You are at liberty to introduce yourself. Okay, so we are yet to hear from Zico, but as she gets organized, let me bring to the floor Augustine Kainda, who's with us, just to be able to briefly introduce himself.
Hey, what's up, people? What's up, people? Sorry for the delay. You know, it's a month of Ramadan right now. My name's Augustine Kainda. Yeah, aka OGI. You know, they know me like that. So yeah.
Okay, aka OGI.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you can hear me without any feedback. I was trying to organize myself.
So we definitely can hear you clearly. And I don't know what's up with the audio with Zico and Philistus. Philistus, are you able to hear us this evening? Philistus, are you able to hear us? Okay, so we seem to have a bit of a challenge with Philistus and Zico, but as the show goes on, we will definitely be able to try and bring them on so that we could get to hear from them. And another person that is with us this evening is no other than Leonard. Okay, so I can see Leonard with us here. Leonard, are you able to hear us? Okay, so no sound from Leonard, but Gertrude, are you able to hear us as well? Gertrude, are you able to hear us? Okay, so just a reminder, as we get to converse, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to mute your microphone each time you are not on the floor speaking, for us to be able to get rid of that feedback sound and to have a seamless conversation altogether. Now, I must indicate to our viewers that obviously it's not very easy to have this show this time around, because as you may be aware, the country is experiencing what everybody is grappling with, and this is the issue of load shedding. So those that are not here with us currently are among the victims of load shedding. So please bear with them. They will be able to join us. I can see Gertrude right now is literally almost in the dark, okay? But hey, we thank you for your effort, Gertrude, and we appreciate your commitment to be with us this evening. So let me just start off, first of all, by finding out from, you, Chimwemwe. You know, recently I know that what was trending on social media was an opportunity where you guys got to travel to the United States of America. Some of you for the very first time, some of you perhaps not. And we just want to know, you know, from your perspective, Gertrude, what was the key highlight of that particular opportunity? How did you find yourself on that particular trip, and what was the highlight for you? Okay, so Chimwemwe, you can go ahead. Okay, so Chimwemwe, are you able to hear me? Okay, so we seem not to have Chimwemwe over there. But guys, can everybody hear me?
I can hear Mr. Wendy. I can hear you.
Yes, you can.
Good. Great. Okay, I was getting worried here. I thought I was talking to myself. Okay, so since Chimwemwe, I can't see Chimwemwe anymore, but let me start with Chalwe. And what I was basically saying is recently you guys had an opportunity to travel to the United States of America on a basketball program. So we just want to find out, how did you find yourself on that trip, and what did you learn from that trip? What was the major highlight for you, Chalwe?
Okay, so basically how I found myself on the trip was I've been doing some work. I've been coaching at one of the local schools here in Kitwe, and I've been helping out coaching a few kids from ages 5 to 8, all the way up to kids that are even in secondary school. And I've been asking some of the already established coaches that are on the Copper Belt for help. So I think basically it's them seeing that I have interest in transitioning into coaching as and when I, retire from the game, which if you ask my teammates is at the end of every season, I tell myself, you know what, I'm retired now. I'll need to come back the next. So I think that's something that kind of propelled me to be put on the list of people who were going to travel and have an experience that I can't even begin to explain. One of the things, I think we learned a lot of things on this trip, but if I was to use one word that I personally learned from this trip is intentionality. I think with everything that we learned as we were there, it's how intentional the basketball world is, especially in the United States. Nothing is left to chance, and I think that's something that I'm so glad I learned, and it's something that I'm ready to bring and help implement and bring it into our game here in Zambia. Highlights, I think there's so many. I can't even begin to pick one, but
give us the major one. Give us the major one.
A major one, I mean, it's a Spurs game. It's a Spurs game. We got to see Wemby warm up. You know, he was so close that we could literally hear him talk, and it was that was the highlight of the trip. Something else was, I think, will be mentioned by my other colleagues. We got to play some wheelchair basketball, and that is a world that I knew existed, but being immersed in it was eye-opening, and it was amazing, all in all.
Okay, so interesting stuff there. Quite a very, very life-changing opportunity, basketball-wise, and of course, other areas of life. Chimwemwe, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I mean, it happens all the time. But Chimwemwe, from your perspective, tell us, how would you describe the trip to the United States of America, and what really got you on that trip, for the sake of young people that are watching right now that would also love to have the opportunity to travel and, get exposed because of basketball?
I think the thing that got most of us on this trip is
Don't say most of us. Don't say most of us. I'm asking you as an individual.
Okay. Okay. The thing that got me on this trip is working for basketball, doing basketball for the love of basketball. Showing up for games, showing up for kids without any pay, without any incentives, just being there for basketball, wanting the basketball game to grow as a whole, got me on this trip. Being intentional about attending clinics, being around people that talk and speak positivity about basketball, that is what got me on this trip. As it comes to the experience that we had in the United States, I can't begin to explain in one word what that meant for us. It was everything that we learned was exhilarating. It was amazing. It was awesome. You had to be there sometimes. So it's an
Was it your first time?
In the United States.
Was it your first time?
Yes, in the United States, yes, across like a whole ocean, yes. But out of the country, no. I've been out for some programs out of the country already, but to the United States and this experience of this magnitude, it was my first time.
Okay.
Highlights. Some of the highlights. We've already spoken about the game and everything, but the wheelchair basketball, it is not easy. If us, the able-bodied people, it was difficult for us to actually wield those wheelchairs, but those guys need a lot of support.
I like the fact that, the wheelchair basketball kind of exposed you to a certain aspect of basketball that sometimes we take for granted, especially considering the fact that we are able-bodied. I can see Zico still with us. Zico, are you able to hear me? Okay. Still quiet. Is that you, Zico?
Yeah, we don't have power, so it's dark and the network is bad.
Okay. 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 We do understand you. I mentioned earlier on that the issue of power is a challenge that all of us are dealing with. But Wallace, you're able to hear me at the moment, Zico, just briefly introduce yourself to those that may not know who Zico is, that are watching us from all over the continent of Africa and the world at large. And how did you find yourself on the trip to the United States of America, and what was the major highlight for you?
Okay, so Tendai Zico 7. I coach YBL Hurricanes, the academy, under 12 and the girls. And I do play for NAPSA basketball, NAPSA Breeze in particular. And I am the captain. What got me to go to the United States was hard work, dedication, and the passion that I have for the young kids and everyone. Yeah. So my biggest takeaway on the program was learning about mental health, nutrition. That's something that we don't have here. So that was a good thing that they did for us. And the highlight, obviously, Spurs game, wheelchair basketball, and visiting a high school. We visited a high school team. We had a chance to go to a high school and we played with them. We saw how these young kids play, and it was nice overall.
Okay. Interesting stuff there from Tendai Zico. Those of you that may be wondering who that mystery lady is, but one of the astute basketball players that we have in the country. Those of you that are watching us online, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, you are at liberty to tender in your questions in the comment section for these people that I'm talking to and interacting with this evening, where basketball is concerned, on their journey, what it is that they learned in the United States of America. I know we'll be delving into that, but in case you have any different question that you would like to be able to just relay to this panel that I have this evening, you can do that. I can see Ndenge already tuned in. Good evening, Ndenge. It's great to have you, bro, and thank you for being with us. Now, let me come to Harrison Banda. Harrison Banda, what was your highlight, Mr. Executive Director? What was your highlight on this particular trip, and how did you find yourself on this trip?
I think the way I find
Harrison, are you
myself
able
on
to
this
hear
trip,
me?
based on the work that we do
Okay.
with our NGO. Yes, I can get you. Are you getting me?
Yes, I can get. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I found myself on this trip based on the work that we do with our NGO. So, like for the past 3 years, we've been organizing tournaments in the communities, which brings the kids together. So most of them, the last time they were at the menstrual hygiene tournament, which has been running every year, which brings children from the community. We teach them a lot of stuff that affect their daily lives, and also do this through debates, quizzes. Yeah, just to mention a few.
Okay. Interesting stuff there from Baby Police. My man Augustine Kainda, OGI. How did you find yourself on this trip, and what exactly did you learn? What was the key highlight for you?
Basically, how I found myself on this trip is I'm a coach. I'm a youth coach for Mature Magic, and what I can take away from the trip is everything was like a wow for me. Like from getting on the plane, going to the United States, you know, everything was everything. Wheelchair basketball was nice. The food, the the what can I say? Learning basketball through how you can put basketball and nutrition together, and how they can go hand to hand. How you can mix, basketball with education. Like the emphasis was really like there. We have it here, but the emphasis on how we can teach that and put them together. Just really like blew my mind. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah,
Interesting
like
stuff there.
every day. Yeah, like every day I try to live my life like I need to learn as much as possible in this short period of time that I was in America, and I did.
I love the combination of education and basketball. Very, very integral there. Coach Dosh, in your words, what exactly did you learn, and what really gave you access to the opportunity to be part of the trip or the entourage that traveled to the United States of America?
Well, I would say what really got me to America was my dedication and spirit that I have for the sport. I've been doing a lot of works underground, and I was coming from a program, Basketball for Good, with Coach Mwape in Chongwe. Then we had taken a photo with Mary, and then it was posted on some platforms, and then I found myself in America. um, oh yeah. For me, what really got me was the aspect of basketball as a business. We've all been seeing basketball as just a sport, but out there it's like a business. It creates a lot of employment. You would see people like accountants, physios, barbermen having employment at a basketball club. That was really a thing for me.
Okay, interesting stuff there. Now, already the comment section is busy at the moment, and I'm loving it. And people would really, really like to interact with you guys. So let me start with Tendai Zirko. There's a question for you from Kuda here. And Kuda says, what did you bring for NAPSA Breeze? And Kuda would like you to pick on the major 3 things that NAPSA Breeze should expect as they're watching right now, which you came with from the United States of America as part of the things that you would like to see implemented at the club, your club.
I brought them chocolates first of all, so they're going to enjoy those chocolates.
Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
the 3 things I feel like my team lacks on nutrition part. We learned we had a coach that not a coach, but a lady that came who taught us about nutrition. So I'd like to share that with my team and the coaches there. What else? Also, maybe mental health was a bigger issue. Maybe mental health. 3 things. Kuda.
So you're remaining with one. You're remaining with one. You talked about nutrition, mental health. What else?
I think also one thing we learned about knowing what your purpose is, what are your core values, why do you get to play basketball? So maybe I want to know from my teammates why they want to play basketball, why they love to play basketball. I think that maybe that can be something. I don't know.
Okay. So before I let you go, Tendai, so when we talk about mental health, it's a very important element of well-being, you know, not only for basketball players, but even for people generally that may not necessarily be involved in the game, but involved in other endeavors of life. How do you intend to be able to engage your team and start championing the idea of mental health at Napsa Breeze?
We can foster maybe a group where we bring some women to talk about people from the health sector. A lot of people go through that, and instead of hiding it within them or keeping that within themselves, we can create that channel where my teammates can get to talk about certain things and get to learn and have meaningful conversations with each other.
Okay, so have you ever been, say, affected by the issue of mental health as a player before? Now, I know that this is a personal question, so I don't intend for you to obviously get into the details, but just on the surface, have you ever been, affected by this whole idea of mental health, this whole issue of mental health? Is it something that you can relate with?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I know that that's a little bit sensitive, but we will get to that. So Ephraim O'Neill says he had an opportunity to be in a group where Baby Police, that is Harrison, grouped some people and shared his experience and allowed people to ask questions. And, he had the chance to share the lessons that he came back with. So kudos to you, Harrison, for being able to do that. But O'Neill also has a question for my man, OGI, all the way from Houston, Texas, the only cowboy in Zambia at the moment, so I've been told. O'Neill says, great opportunity for you, Ogi, to have an opportunity to play against your team last season in the B League. And it says, keep up the good work. Okay, so I thought that was a question, but I guess it's a compliment. So let me go to Kuda. Kuda has got a question for you, Harrison. Kuda says, you've had an opportunity to travel around the SADC region. I know you've played in Zimbabwe, you've played in Malawi, you've played in South Africa. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think you've played in most of these countries that's around Zambia. But Kuda would like to find out, how are the African cultures different from what you found and saw in Texas during the time that you were there, Harrison?
I think as can you get me?
Yes.
I think as Chalo alluded earlier, our friends are just intentional at everything, and they're just blunt, and they'll just tell you off. Same applies to coaches. The American coaches will just tell you off. If a fact's a fact. It's different here back home. Like our coaches will try to baby the players and all, which at the end of the day is affecting the players. So yeah, that's what I've seen on my side.
So now, Harrison, you've raised something quite important here, especially for Charlo, who's also a player, Augustine Kainde, and the rest of the guys, Zico included, Coach Dosh as well, who's a coach on this platform. The issue of being able to, okay, why do you think coaches in Zambia baby players, fail to tell players the truth? And as a player, tell me, how do you think this has affected the development of the game, both at club or at individual level?
Maybe sometimes it's just the issue of resources. Maybe the players doing much well than the coach. So certain instances, you just have to listen to the player. That at least the player will give me something for a young or something. That's why the coaches get to play along in that line.
Interesting stuff over there. So we've got a question here from from Kateleko Mateus, and this is for Chimwemwe. So Chimwemwe and Chalwe. So he would like to find out, looking at the YBL scene on the Copper Belt, the youth development on the Copper Belt, with the knowledge that you guys acquired, how are you going to apply it in your respective jurisdictions? So let me start with you, Chalwe.
That's a great question. And like I said, the one thing that I came back with is intentionality. And currently I am working with some of the coaches on the Copper Belt to set up an active YBL, an active youth league that is being spearheaded by Coach Kandala. I had an opportunity to have a chat with him, and we exchanged ideas. He asked me about how my experience was, having traveled and seen different aspects of the game in the United States. So definitely, just to answer your question, definitely I will implement what I learned and bring it to the YBL, be it improving the already existing one that's there, or setting up a new one that we are working on. The one thing that I can say that we noticed is basketball is started from the grassroots. By the time a kid is getting to the 7th grade, they are already fundamentally sound, and you work on other aspects of the game. It's different with the way we carry basketball here, where people start playing basketball when they get to university, when they're already 18, 19. It's different over there. You have an 8-year-old who has handles as good as OGI, if not better. No shade, OGI. So it's things like that. But definitely, there are a lot of things. I'm doing up a write-up right now that I'm supposed to present to Coach Kandala, just for him to see if there's anything that he can use as he's implementing, or as we are working on implementing the YBL on the Copper Belt.
Okay, so I can see that we don't have Chimwemwe right now, and it's obviously a network issue. But once she comes back, we will be able to get to Chimwemwe and find out exactly how she plans to be able to improve the YBL using the knowledge that she gained. But Katrina Fran has got a very, very interesting question or submission for each and every one of you this evening, and she would like to know, and this one I'll throw to first OGI. She says, what specific skills did you learn? Okay, and how do you she says, what specific skills or techniques did you focus on during the camp? So OGI, maybe you can tackle that one, as I can see that the second one is for Coach Dosh. So Coach Dosh, prepare to take on the second question. But OGI, what specific skills or techniques did you focus on during the camp? Are you able to hear me, Ogi? Okay, so we seem to have a bit of a sound issue there with the gentleman OGI.
I think the emphasis that they had put on the skills to build with the Yankees was footwork. I think you need to have a lot of great footwork for you to play basketball and be, yes, I'm able to hear you. Hello?
Yes, hello? I can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, so we seem to have a little bit of a technical glitch with audio with OGI, but we will get back to you, Ogi, just to be able to get to hear exactly what it is that you learned, the skills and techniques. But Coach Dosh, the second one specifically is for you. So just bring us up to speed. How do you plan to integrate what you learned into your team's training and gameplay strategies? Very, very brilliant questions there from Katrina Fran.
Okay, that's a good question. When we went out there, we didn't really dive into the strategies or game plans, but there are two things that we learned that I would try to push with my team, which I feel affects our performance as a team. The first aspect was the aspect of mental health. We have low performance mostly when it comes to females because of the in-house issues that players get to face. And my team being a female team and me being a male coach, there are things that I feel to dive in on a personal level. But this season we've had a plan of involving female mentors that would help us in that area, and as well the aspect of nutrition. Performances are low at sometimes because of the intake that players take in, like the food stuff, the drinks. Here's an example. I'm having a game in like 10 to 20 minutes, and then here's my player drinking Kung Fu or Combat or something. There are these energy drinks which affects their performance. So my team having the know on what to eat, what not to drink, that would actually improve their performance and their fitness as well. So those are the two things that I would want to really push with my team that can really help their performance this season. Submit.
Okay. Okay, so the 60th question is for Harrison Banda. And Katrina says, how do you intend to adapt the lessons from the camp to suit the strength and weaknesses of your own team? That is from Katrina. So she says, how do you intend to adapt the lessons from the camp to suit
Thanks,
the
Katrina, for that
strengths
question.
and weaknesses?
I intend
of your team?
to. Okay, are you getting me?
Go ahead. Yes, I can.
I intend to apply some of the things that we learned, especially on the issue of recovery. You know, the NBA, they really treasure recovery a lot because they're playing today, the following day they're traveling, they're playing the other day. So I've been asked the question of icing. I remember the last time I went to Bao, we iced before a game. We were playing a game at 20, then we iced at Shibaro 9, which really affected the players from my side. So that's one of the questions that asked the dietitian, the nutritionist. Yeah, so it's better to ice post game, just immediately after the game. That's the best time to ice. So that's some of the things that I need to share with my team. Also, the issue of how to hydrate. We were taught chocolate milk is one of the best because it stays about 6 to 10 hours in your body. And the issue of another issue is of how I'm supposed to eat. Like I'm supposed to eat maybe 3 hours before the game, and also avoid energy drinks. So those are some of the things that I'll share with my guys, and I've tried to compile everything, and I'll share it in the group with the guys. So those are the few things that I will help my team with.
So you've talked about something very important: eating 3 hours before the game, at least eating. Avoiding energy drinks, which obviously have become very popular among different athletes altogether. But the other issue, maybe, what exactly are people supposed to eat? I remember the times, the days when I used to play, would buy bread in Spur at a kid's there, and eat it. Chalo is laughing. You'd buy a lot of bread, groundnuts, as we walk from Matero to Nasdaq, and just, would eat all kinds of stuff. So were you taught some specific foods maybe that players can consider eating, 3 or 2 hours before the game?
So like fruits, bananas, oranges, grapes, that's a good start. As well, I mentioned that chocolate milk, which stays in the body to about 6 to 10 hours. And also, another important thing is the food that we eat when going to bed. That's a very important part because that's where the muscles are built up. So it's very important to know the type of food that you eat before you go to bed. I think the most type of food that should have the ones rich in proteins and carbohydrates.
Okay. Okay, interesting stuff there. So OGI is with us, is back. OGI, the thing that I had asked you earlier on was bordering on what are some of the specific skills and techniques that you learned, you know, Wallace or so what are some of the specific skills and techniques that you focused on during the camp, and how do you intend to teach those to the young kids in Matera?
I think one thing that I got from the camp is the skill teaching footwork, starting with footwork. Like basketball should start with footwork first before you even learn how to bounce. I know basketball is a hoop and a basketball, but I mean it should be able to start with, if you can move your feet right, then you can play basketball. Yeah, I think we'll be able to teach that and teach that to the kids and the elder guys from my side.
Okay, so third question is for you, Zico, from Katrina. We're trying to unpack these questions here. So Katrina says, did you gain any insight into effective coaching methods or team management strategies? Zico, if you did, what are some of those, and how do you intend to be able to apply them at the YBL teams that you're managing currently? Zico, are you there? Okay, so we have Coach Katambe joining us. Good evening, Coach Katambe. Are you able to hear us?
Yes, good evening, How are you?
Good, good. It's great to have you. Okay, so Zico, I don't know if Zico is able to hear us, but Chalwe, specifically Chimwemwe, there was a question for you where Katrina wanted to find out how you're going to improve the YBL, you know, on the Copper Belt. I think there was that aspect which we didn't have an opportunity to get you to speak on. How do you intend to improve the YBL on the Copper Belt using the knowledge that you gained from the program?
So, the YBL should basically be a developmental league. We should foster it. We should intentionally league. We find that people that are playing Super League sorry, we have some people that have. We need to be intentional about YBL. Pure basic. We should have development mentality in the YBL. It comes to the YBL. There's a program coming in Kadala who invited us to be part. So we intend to do all this thing that and how we improve on the game.
Okay, so obviously the audio there, we're having a little bit of a technical challenge again with the audio, but we did hear a few things. Let me bring on Katambi, who's with us. Katambi, there's a question here for everybody which talks about, so the question is, did you, what were some of the best practices?
Can you get me?
Okay, we can get you at the moment. Yeah, but right now I'm on Katambe, so we'll get back to you once the sound stabilizes a little bit, Chimwemwe. So Coach Katambe, Katrina was asking, did you, she was saying, did you have, in fact, 6 is for everybody, let me bring 5 to you. Question 5, she says, did you have the opportunity to network with other coaches and exchange ideas or best practices whilst you were out in the US? And if you did interact with other coaches to exchange some ideas, what did you learn from other coaches?
I learned that it's only not playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about also school, and I think there's a lot we need to improve. Yeah, here maybe it's only basketball sport, but after I went that side, I learned a lot. Mm, yes, so
Okay,
because
interesting stuff there, and I love the fact that there was some interaction.
that side.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, Zico, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I am.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, so Zico, there was a question which was specifically directed to you there from Katrina, and that's question 3. And Katrina there is saying, did you gain any insights into effective coaching methods or team management strategies? If so, what are some of those, and how do you intend to roll them out at NAPSA organization?
Okay, yeah, we got some valuable insights from. We had a session with Chris Phillips, which was like a talk, and the insights that that we learned from them is various aspects of maybe team dynamics, player development, leadership styles, and also having that winning culture. I feel like in Zambia we struggle with that. Also player development strategies, yeah, individual player skills, overall team performance. I think basically those, and also culture awareness. Like in the global section, people do understand. So I would apply these insights to integrate them to teach, teams training, communication strategies. How do we communicate with each other on the court? How do we foster that high performance team, to access success both on and off the court?
Okay, Felicitas, are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me now? Okay, so Felicitas still struggling with the issue of network there, and Chimwemwe also waiting to come back, but we will be able to get through to them as we continue with the conversation. So the elephant in the room, ladies and gentlemen, is something that's popping on your screen right now, and this is what Iliam Denge has raised. He says, as you speak about nutrition, now, most of you mentioned the importance of nutrition and how you were taught to take care of your bodies as much as you were taught the skills that you need to focus on or teach the players to improve their skills, for overall team development. But Ndenge says, what is your take on alcohol consumption among players? Now, this I've observed from NASDAQ. Okay, I won't talk about the copper belts, but I believe Chalwe and Chimwemwe are there to educate us on that. But alcohol consumption for me is the biggest issue that I've seen happen within the corridors and confines of NASDAQ. So were you taught anything about alcohol consumption as players? Because clearly in Zambia, players take a lot of alcohol. Some even before the game, some after the game, others during the game. Maybe, you never know, but hey, these are things I've seen. So where the issue of alcohol consumption is concerned, let me start with, first of all, before I get to Coach Dosh or Charlie, let me start with the players themselves. Harrison, what did you learn about alcohol consumption? What is your take on that? Is it a danger? Can we consume a certain amount? What are your thoughts on that?
Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yes, are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you able to get me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed as well, immediately after a game, someone goes straight to the bar and starts drinking alcohol. And I can just relate it to the issue of nutrition, because they say if you are running and are you able to
Okay,
get
so
me?
again, yes, now we can hear you, Harrison. Yes, I can.
Are you getting me?
Yep.
Yeah. So I've seen this tendency of players just from the floor, they go straight to the bar, which is a very bad tendency, because we learned that alcohol must be consumed during off season and not so much. And the challenge is that you are replacing those fluids you lost in the game with alcohol, which in turn will definitely deteriorate your body. So alcohol isn't good for players, especially on season. Yeah, off season, yes. A bit though.
So personally, Harrison, have you made some changes? The knowledge that you have are we going to see perhaps some change with regards maybe your alcohol consumption pattern? If you do take
Yes,
alcohol, that is.
yeah, I do take maybe usual on weekends, but with what I learned so far, I'm better off taking it off season and not every week, maybe just once a month, I think. And I'll be advocating for
Okay.
this. I think I've been yeah.
Okay, interesting stuff there. Chalwe, you are a player and a coach at the same time. First of all, tell us, how is the alcohol consumption on the Copper Belt?
I think it's we have the same situation as what you have in Nasdaq, but with us, because it's an outdoor court. So I think in Nasdaq it's more in your face because you're in an enclosed space, so someone's gonna come. But with us, it's out. It's an outdoor court, so you do see players taking alcohol. Yes, that is a thing. So I won't sit here and say no. Copperbelt players don't take alcohol. They do. I think having gone through the program that we just did, if
Even
we are going to
even women do. How is the consumption among women?
Human beings on the Copper Belt do take alcohol.
Katrina
can
is
you
saying
hear me
my
being
big mossy.
politically correct?
Katrina is saying there's the issue of my big mossy here, my big mossy.
Well, Katrina said it. Yeah, so her words. No, but on a serious note, both men and women do take alcohol on the Copper Belt, same as in Lusaka. But like I was saying, having gone through this program, I think if we as athletes or anyone coming under us or any of the athletes that we are coaching want to play at an elite level, the alcohol is definitely a vice that they cannot afford to start or even participate in, because like I said, if you're going to be intentional about it, you have to the session we had about nutrition, our coordinator, our speaker kept saying, she used this phrase, train your gut. And in that, she broke it down in that our performance is only as good as what we put into our bodies. And my colleagues have touched on that, what we eat the night before a game, what we eat before the game, what we eat during the game. And we did ask different questions because we're in a different environment. So, I think Harrison did mention to say it's bananas, oranges, grapes, and things like that. But we did narrow it down and say, listen, we're coming from a different country where things like grapes and yes, bananas, we do get them, but then not every team has the resources to say with during games we're going to have a box of bananas or oranges or grapes. What can we eat as players, or what can we consume? What can the team consume? And one of the things that were brought was basically fruits. We have to take advantage of we did mention to say we have seasonal fruits in our country. She did mention to say we should take advantage of the seasonal fruits that are there. So I digress because now I'm going back to nutrition, but your question was on alcohol consumption. But basically, to just answer it plainly, if our athletes are going to perform at an elite level, then alcohol is something that they cannot partake in. Period. Like let's not beat about the bush. The level of basketball that is being played is so elite that I don't think anyone can have the chance to nurse a hangover when your opponents or your teammates or whoever it is performing at another level. We have to, if we're going to take this intentionality seriously, then alcohol is something that they can't do. And I think this transcends to any game, any sport. If you're going to play at an elite level and you're going to increase, sorry, power just my power just went off. And if you're going to play at an elite, if you're going to play at an elite level and with the longevity that you plan to play, I don't think alcohol is something that you can afford to take.
Okay, interesting stuff there. Let me come to you, Coach Ogi. You being a player for Matero Magic and, of course, also a coach. So you wear two hats, but this principle is very, very important. But before I forward the question to you, Ogi, Harrison, Baby Police here, you've got people that are willing, in fact, are willing. They'll be watching you closely to make sure that there's no pint, no big mercy for you, sir. No big mercy here. So Ephraim Oni was taking it up upon himself to make sure that there's no big mercy for you, Harrison. But anyway, OGI, I know that right now you are currently on Ramadan, and thank you very much for taking time. A very, very important time for you, especially being a practicing Muslim, and we respect and really appreciate you for that. And discipline, I know, forms a very fundamental core of your religious beliefs. But the issue of alcohol as a player, tell us, you learned, and this is a problem, okay? So how are you going to teach the young people at Matero Magic to ensure that they stay away from the issue of alcohol abuse? And also, you belong to an organization, the defending champion, Matero Magic. How is the alcohol situation in Matero Magic?
First of all, I'd love to start with the alcohol consumption on our team. Only like maybe 2 or 3 players take alcohol from maybe 16 players. And from the 3 players that do take alcohol, they don't take it that much. We're focusing, because alcohol reduces your overall performance, whether at practice or in games or whatever you do on your day-to-day lives. Like alcohol really like reduces your thinking, and it's a very like it's not something that you can mess with on a day-to-day thing. So alcohol is like a bad substance that you can use for you to. There's nothing like no alcohol will give me nerves to perform on a high level. It might work for some people, maybe for first 2 minutes, but for you to perform on an elite level, as Chalwe said, you need to like skip alcohol out of your schedule and maybe take it off season if you want to do that.
Okay, so Coach Dosh, let me bring you in. For you, Coach Dosh, most of the colleagues here have really spoken about, without beating about the bush, that players shouldn't tolerate a culture of taking alcohol during the season, and even off season, they should moderate. But I had an opportunity to interact with one person, and I asked them, why are you drinking this much? And what this person told me was that I don't get paid to play basketball. It's not a professional thing, so I can live my life however I want. How do we achieve this advocacy of no alcohol consumption in order to develop athletes that are high performance kind? If players are saying, look, my life is my life outside the basketball court, Within those 4 lines, I'll do your 5 Californias, Coach Dosh. I'll pass the ball, I'll shoot, I'll do everything you say. But once I'm out, you have no say on me. How do you handle that?
Okay, that has been a culture that has been like hindering our progress as a nation. If you remember what I mentioned to say basketball as a business, our culture does not take basketball seriously. People would not respect the sport because of they get like peanuts off it. So I remember we asked the question at the Spurs facility to say, how do you guys make sure your players do not take these things that you don't want them to take? And you know what the lady answered? They went like, we are a group of people that hire chefs for our players. So those chefs control what our players take in. So because that is done, because for them, they invest in their players and they invest in the team. So they want their investment to be going well. So in our league, we fail to take players in those lines because even the owners of the teams do not take basketball as a sport of business. It's just for the love of the game. So here is me who's running a team, right? If I put a thing of saying none of my players will take alcohol during the season, I do not worry even if we lose as a team, for as long as my players are doing ABC, that can really work. But teams are so focused on winning, not the actual growth of the sport. That's where the problem is. So if we
now,
can,
Dosh,
yeah.
Now, Dosh,
Yes.
you've raised something very, very important. But in our setup, we have to be very alive to the reality that is happening.
Yeah.
Now, I have
Yeah.
seen coaches. I have seen coaches who buy alcohol for their star players. In fact, there's even a comment here from Emmanuel Muteva who says immediately after a NAPSA game, somebody was seen with a big moss, in the bathroom. They couldn't even finish
Yeah.
removing the jersey from their body. They were already, interacting with the big mossy. So there are coaches who buy their star players alcohol. There are team managers, there are sponsors who drink with the players. What is your thought on that?
On that one, I would say the lack of knowledge, because someone who really learned like what we learned about nutrition and how it can affect your performance as a player and as a team, I would not advise my players to take such things, because I know to say if my player is taking this substance, right, it will affect his individual performance, which will affect the whole team. So it's because we as a nation, right, we are not really investing in the nutritional part. For example, if Dolphins, we had a person who deals with nutrition, right, they would educate our players and ask questions about the importance of not taking this and the importance of taking this. So I would say it's a lack of knowledge.
Okay. So Chimwemwe, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I am. Hopefully the ancestors won't act up.
I pray so too. But for you, I have got a question. Now, I've seen, one issue that we also tend to maybe not really talk about that much, because as Dosh said, we don't pay these players. We don't really have a certain control over them as a result of them voluntarily playing for our teams. Now, let's talk about the issue of, sexual reproductive health. And when I talk about the issue of sexual reproductive health, I'm also talking about the issue of relationships. Now, on this platform, we had a session where the issue of coaches dating young, vulnerable female players came up. Did you cover anything related to that? And being a problem that we have in our setup, how do you intend to advocate and perhaps address this issue of coaches dating players and messing up the teams and sexual reproductive health altogether?
We did come across Dr. Blakely Scott. There's something known as Title IX in the United States, which is like a law that ensures equity and equality for different genders, but it also covers what you're saying, the code of conduct. It also covers violence against women or men that are sexually abused or not offered these opportunities. But all this is based, or the base should be us and our core values. So if an organization starts with the core values and says, this is what we have in place, and these are the repercussions of this and this, if you're in this organization, you need to follow that. Like, don't compromise your core values for anyone or for anything because you just want to win. So if there's an issue about coaches dating coaches, address that issue. Because you're grooming a crop. What I learned today, I'm going to teach the next person. So if I'm going to learn the proper values of managing a team, of rules and everything, and protecting my players, we won't have that issue. Yeah.
Okay, Tendai Zico, are you there? Zico,
Yes,
are you
I am.
there? Good. So from you, let me find out, Zico, do you think basketball provides a safe space for these young girls that are being, what can I say, that are being approached, or maybe who are receiving advances from coaches, romantic advances from people that they look up to, people who are supposed to teach them the values of not only the game, but life in general? Do you think the clubs at the moment, say NAPSA Breeze, Material Magic, Sparks, Green Buffaloes for women, Lynx on the Copper Belt, and all these clubs everywhere, do you think they provide safe spaces for girls to actually have the opportunity and liberty to say, coach, I can't do this? Do they have where to run to?
I think so. Basketball can, it does provide a safe space, with the team policies. Emotionally, basketball teams foster, sense of belongingness, inclusion. They do support. There is support among players regarding such. So I do think so.
So can you tell us that at NAPSA, you've got very strong policies that are against coaches dating players, female players?
Absolutely.
Specifically?
We have Coach Mope, as we know, he's a very strict man. Even just wearing crop tops is an issue at NAPSA Breeze. So even for the young YBL, dressing inappropriately, we have such team policies that are not acceptable. And absolutely, I totally agree.
I love the fact that you mentioned YBL, and it starts from there. I 100% agree with you. So Coach Katambe right now is not with us, but I was hoping he could also weigh in on this matter. But let me bring Chalwe. Chalwe, also you being a female, I want you to speak to this. Do clubs really have strong, as Chimwemwe, intelligently and befittingly so mentioned, that teams need to have proper code of conduct to be able to prevent some of these things? On the Copper Belt, do you have situations where players are dating coaches are dating players? And how protected is the girl child within these basketball organizations?
Okay, so this I think you had this topic some time back, and a lot was discussed. Like Zico had mentioned, yes, we do have protection in the team where these are things that you discuss to say you can't do this, or this is the way you're supposed to behave and whatnot. But as is the problem with alcohol as well, you can only control so much. And it's the same when it comes to these things. I'm not saying that there are people who do this or not, but this is something that I think everyone can say they've witnessed, that your laws are only as good as the person who is listening to them. Okay? You find there are players who will tell you, listen, I'm here on the court, like you said, I will do my 5 Californias. Who I date is none of your business. So it brings down to the fact that because people are not motivated in the game, they've got no incentive, for lack of a better word, to adhere to the rules and regulations of the game or of the institution. A lot of us, there are places where you can talk to your different coaches, be it if you're on a female team, there are always those senior players who the younger players will always come to if there's anything. And I think personally on our team, you have the young players who will come, and we don't allow them to stay past a certain hour, depending on what time our game was played. You make sure the younger players, you make sure they leave and the like, but it all boils down to the type of person who you're talking to. You know, people come from different homes, and therein lies the problem, because from just the program that we went through, we spoke to different coaches, high school coaches, university coaches, and even coaches who are coaches for NBA. And one thing they mentioned is they set these rules, they set these goals, and from the young kids, from primary, the parents are involved in these things. You know, a coach can only do so much, basically. So yes, we are, and I think having had this experience with the program, I think this is something that Chimwemwe and I have been talking about, to just set up something that is specifically meant to protect the girl child, or anyone. Let's not exclude the male child as well, because I mean, harassment and abuse has no gender. So that's something we've been discussing with Chimwemwe, my colleague, and hopefully we can implement something that is intentionally meant to protect against any form of harassment or unnecessary behavior.
Okay, so let me bring in Coach Katambe. Coach Katambe, you are doing quite an amazing job, I must tell you. In case people are very economical with the truth, me, I will tell you here, I'm impressed and I'm so proud of what you're doing in Kabata. And, you know, be encouraged that people are watching, and there's greater things coming for you, you know, with regards to the work that you're doing in Kabata. I was able to watch the tournament, and I can tell you I mean, very few words can describe what you're doing. But the issue is, they say charity begins at home, you know, and nowadays you'll find that, I'll be very frank with you, when I was growing up, you know, it was practically unheard of to even touch a cigarette, even when I was 18 years old, you know. But nowadays you will find that under 15, kabema fuaka, you get it, you know, under 16, kaziba kutala kubaera. So, Coach Katambe, tell us, as you are dealing with these young kids down there, do you emphasize that if vama fuakamo and things like that, they need to stay away from these things? Are you able to hear us, Coach Katambe? Okay, so we seem to have a little bit of some audio issues there with Coach Katambe as well. But let me throw this now to Harrison. Let me throw this to Harrison Banda. Baby Police, you spoke about alcohol earlier on. You have got people that are going to police you not to take alcohol. But you tell us, it's not only alcohol. There's the issue of weed, chamba. You guys smoke a lot of weed. Now, I'm not saying you smoke, Harrison. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But a lot of players, smoke a lot of weed. In fact, I remember, those days when I used to play, there were players that before the game, they used to go and smoke. The coaches would even ask others, Iwe, make sure you go and do your ritual before we play. So you tell us, Harrison, the issue of weed also, as Emmanuel has raised it, was it also covered?
No, we didn't cover the issue of weed, but I think no coach would allow any player to smoke weed because you do definitely not know your strength. If you rely on weed, then you play. And what if there's no weed? That's the question now. So I think that I wouldn't advise to do that. That's not a good thing to do because it's just not nice. Let me just put it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, interesting there. Coach Dosh. Let's talk about you coach a female team. Okay? You coach a female team. So let me bring you back to the issue of coaches dating players and messing up team chemistry and everything altogether within the organization. This is a problem that's happening. You tell me, as a coach, how does this whole thing affect a team? And do you think at the moment there are enough regulations both at club level and at ZBF level to be able to address this problem?
I will start with performance and respect. These two things. Dating your own player brings about disrespect and a lot of in-house gossips and mini chats. I'll give an example. If let's say I'm dating my player.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And there'll be a time that maybe Sepa would do a wrong, right? Hello? Do you get me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, an example I'm giving is this: a time that I'm dating Sepa, and there will be a time that Sepa maybe does the wrong footwork, right? And I just try to avoid it, and then Mary does the same wrong, right? And then I hear what Mary. That'd be like, but why is he only yelling at me, not her? Is it because that's the girlfriend? You get? So it brings a lot of conflicts around the team and a lot of fights and the like. And I feel if you're dating a player, it will bring a lot of disrespect because that player will not really respect you as a coach, but it will bring about the romance into anything that you're doing. And when it comes to rules and regulations, I don't think we have a lot of those that can really push this. I feel it is a topic that is mostly flashed away from the way, because I remember I once saw a news where a certain coach from the States was fired from a team because of having a relationship with a player from the same team. So I feel if we had regulations that will state to say if Dosh is dating a player from Dolphins, he has to be sanctioned, or something that could really push away that aspect of dating your own players.
Okay, so in other words, it should be okay for Coach Dosh to date a player from Magic Sparks. Don't you think coaches are capable of creating a cartel among themselves or among yourselves and say, Mwana, since I can't graze from my own field, I'll be grazing in your field, you graze in my field. Are we still protecting the girl child? Are we still protecting the girl child at the end of the day?
From my submission, I was just giving an example of let's say I'm dating a player from my team, right? So in that sense, dating players is one thing that can bring about a lot of talks, like you've mentioned, and this has been happening in our own league for a very long time. It is still happening, and I see no actions being taken against that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting stuff there. So KK has got a question here. My very good friend KK here says, congratulations to all you, our coaches. Welcome back. And to our women on the panel, that is Chalwe and Chimwemwe. KK is saying, I mean, she's proud of the fact that you guys were able to represent, okay, and be part of this important program. But what you'd like to find out is how are you going to improve through, through sharing what you learned, of course, the basketball or just generally the welfare of girls in schools and youth teams with the knowledge that you've come with. So is there a deliberate plan to be able to extend this, say, to high school basketball, which apparently is not doing very well? In fact, it's dead in the Lusaka, in these maybe convention or in the mainstream. I don't know about the private schools, but I don't think we have active high school basketball in the Lusaka. But Chimwemwe, do you intend to engage the schools or the school girls that are actively involved in basketball, just sharing with them some of the important things that you learned?
That's a very good question, KK. Yes, we do want to intentionally go into schools because, like we said, we want to target the grassroots. So as it comes to developing women's basketball in the Copper Belt, us that are here now have gone through the system for some time. So there are some mannerisms that we're not going to change if we're not intentional. But we do plan, Chalo and I and some of our colleagues that we've spoken to are going to be going into these schools and talking to them and coming up with programs or camps that we can have with girl children, and to be inclusive, some of the men as well. This is going to delve into social change. It's going to delve into improving basketball as a skill and using those skills beyond basketball. So yes, we do plan to go into these schools.
Okay, before I bring Charlie on the floor, Coach Katambe, are you able to hear me now? Okay, so we seem to still have a bit of technical challenges with the audio with Coach Katambe. But Charlie, how do you intend to educate the girls that are currently in school to be able to, or rather teach the girls that are currently in school and involved in basketball to stay away from drugs and all these things, and of course the other things that you learned?
Okay, so having gone through the program that we just completed, we had a session that taught us on creating of programs. And we met a gentleman called Dr. Crooms, and he has a mentorship program that deals specifically with Black American boys, and he has coupled that with helping them, teaching them core values with regards to their Christian faith and sport. So Chimwemwe and I have been putting some things down on paper to say we want to mirror that. We want to mirror that program and bring it into schools, especially on the Copper Belt. But first things first, we have to talk about the lack of facilities and infrastructure, because most, if not majority of these schools do not even have basketball courts. So therein lies the problem when it comes to bringing basketball in the schools. But nonetheless, we are not using that as a reason why we won't do this. So like Chimwemwe said, we are drawing up some programs, and we will involve the teams that are available on the Copper Belt, both male and female, because as it is, I think if you can notice, for the past 10, 15 years, there have been a lot of programs that include the girl child only, and we have excluded the male child. So we're hoping to educate both male and female, because at the end of the day, they exist together. So the programs that we're trying to do is to teach the girl child to say, this is how you behave, this is how you communicate, and to teach the boy child to say, this is how you behave, this is how you communicate, because we find instances where the girl child has been taught, but then the boy child has not, and then we just go into a never-ending cycle of bad behavior and all these things. With regards to keeping the girl child away from drugs, alcohol, I think we intend to be intentional about it. We need our programs will go into the schools, so we need to talk to the different headmasters, the different teachers. I know we have teachers in our those to give us access to the different schools, and we will definitely need help from everyone in the basketball community. If this is going to work, like I said, as soon as we started this program, if this is going to work, we have to be intentional. And this means giving up not only resources, but our time. I know a lot of people, a lot of us work, but if we are going to make a change with regards to basketball, we have to give our time, our energy to do these programs. Most of them will have to happen during the week, and I know people work, but this is something that if we commit to doing it, we can achieve it. All of us have to have one goal, and we all have to buy into the goal that we want to achieve. I feel like this is therein lies our problem in not achieving our goals, because you start it as a group, but very few people do the work. A lot of people want the praise to say, you know what, we did this program, but how many are going on the ground and doing the work? Everyone has an excuse. You know what, I was working, or I can't, I have a meeting. We need to sacrifice. Like Chimwemwe said, we need to give back to the game in order for it to give back to us.
Interesting stuff there, and I'm sure your colleagues are hearing the importance of putting in the work. Zico, let me bring you in from a Lusaka perspective, where I mentioned earlier on that high school basketball is on the verge of, if not dead already. Zico, what do you think, or what do you intend to engage school-going kids and just be able to teach them some of the important things that you learned using the platform of basketball?
Yes. Looking at me, for instance, I used to play basketball with the boys, so I feel there are most girls who don't feel included because I'm a girl, I can't do this. And as what Sma and Chimwemwe have said, facilities, infrastructure, we need access to that. We need to develop programs on skill development. How would the girl, compete with the boy? It's all about the roles. And obviously, we have some people that have played basketball, veterans, the Legends Basketball, for example. We can partner with these veteran players and offer mentorship to the girls. We can, as we build that camp system, we invite them to come, they talk to the players so that it builds the confidence and the self-esteem among these female players, and also address barriers participation, of certain things, issues of Title IX, which is sexual harassment, mental health, dealing with such. So I do intend to start doing that with my team so that girls can feel included, gender equality, etc.
Okay. So before I go to OGI, Coach Katambe, are you able to hear me? We seem to have a little bit of an audio challenge with Coach Katambe here. Are you able to hear me? Okay, so I don't know what kind of witchcraft is in Kabata today, that Katambe can't really hear us. Eh? But there's something that Frank Siame has brought up. It says we need drug tests around the league. As we get to wrap up our conversation, OGI, what is your reaction to what Frank is talking about here? It says we need to have drug tests around the league.
I mean, from my small research on marijuana intake, it's showing that it gives a certain advantage to a player to when you take weed as per se, it gives you like, you have a clear view, you stop doubting yourself, you like, so I don't know about that, but or without the weed, are you a better player than you were yesterday when you took the weed? You know, like it doesn't make sense. I mean, we need that a lot. I think we need it. We need it.
Okay.
We need the dog
So
testing for sure.
okay. So I like the response here from Iliam, and Iliam immediately responds and says, drug tests. Okay, we got Mulenga Mumba, who is the officer for anti-doping, and I'm sure he's cooking up something. So Coach Kobe Mulenga, for those of you that may not know, that Mulenga Mumba is Coach Kobe, currently with the Lusaka Basket Queens. So we'll be perhaps interacting with him on this forum on a different day, just to find out how this can be consolidated, how this program can be rolled out to ensure that we have a league that is drag free, a league that promotes healthy lifestyles as players commit to the beautiful game of basketball. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep you longer than necessary, but thank you very much for speaking with me this evening. And right now, I will allow each and every one of you to give your closing remarks before we get to end our conversation for tonight. So, I will start with Coach Dosh. What is your closing remarks?
Well, I'll just have to say thank you to everybody who's trying to push for the growth of basketball in our country. Let's do more work. Let's get it.
Okay, that's interesting there from Coach Dosh. So let me go to Zico. Zico, what are your closing remarks? Zico, are you there?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, I was
Can
worried
you
that
hear
you're
me?
dozing. So yes, I can hear you. What are your closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to World Learning, Basketball Embassy, and Ndenge, and other people for giving us the opportunity to go to the United States to learn a lot, and to you, Mr. Marvaro, for giving us this platform to share, what we learned. We need more people to come on board, especially the women, men, community engagements. We didn't mention that we had traveled to, they took us to Heaven of Hope. It's a place like Fountain of Hope that does community service. So maybe more of that as well. Yeah.
Okay, interesting stuff there. So let us now go to Harrison Banda, Baby Police. What are your closing remarks, sir?
I think my closing remarks are on the emphasis that they put on sports and education, as well as family. So in the Zambian basketball setup, you come drop your 20 points, what you do afterwards, that's your own stuff. But your friends, they are very strict, like they want you to be a good player even away from basketball. They check up with your family, how is he behaving? I think that's the culture that you should develop as well here in Zambia. I think that's what I have in my closing remarks.
Interesting there, and of course, timely advice there. Chimwemwe, what are your closing remarks?
First and foremost, I would love to be grateful to the people that gave us this opportunity to go and learn and interact with the people in the United States, and also for the people that received us with so much hospitality and love. So we were taught to, for most of the culture that we saw, especially in San Antonio, people work together. They build a village. So the most important thing that we were taught is to build a village. We were taught to create connections, not to burn bridges, but to build the bridges. So if there's things that need to be addressed amongst yourselves, if there's any discrepancies, address them, move on, but then always have to work together. Come together. We're all working for one common goal. So yeah, let's get it.
Okay, so Augustine Kainda, what is your closing remarks?
First of all, I'd love to thank God, for putting me in such a position. I mean, it was a dream come true, me going to the United States, and okay, it wasn't my first time, as you all know. I mean, I had to go back to the motherland. Just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, but I would love to thank everyone that made sure that we traveled safe. I won't mention names; they know themselves. But just to mention a few, the basketball embassy, the Wild Lenin, Ndenge, and the American Embassy for putting up such a learning environment for us young coaches to go learn a lot from there. Yeah, I'd love to thank.
Okay, so that's okay, that's great. So Coach Katambe, are you able to hear me? I'm trying my luck here again with Coach Katambe. Coach Katambe, are you able to hear me? Okay, so we still seem to be struggling with the network over there from Coach Katambe. But all in all, one of the important things that I have noticed from this conversation is that you guys obviously have the support of a whole lot of people within the basketball community, and they're looking forward to specifically seeing how or what you're going to do to make sure that we see an improvement in the game of basketball. As you can see there, Coach Kandala, they are saying you guys have a task ahead of you because you guys are pioneers and need to show that the future will be bright when our generation walks away and hands the reins over to you guys. Congratulations to all of you. So already you can see that the people that have gone before you, the people that have walked the path that you're walking right now, are simply willing already to hand over the torch to you. So it means you have a greater responsibility. As Chalo said, it means you have to work together. There has to be more work than talk. And another interesting comment that I find, from our comment section is something from Iliam here. And Ndenge says, dedication, persistence, and focus has taken you guys this far. Please stay focused and implement everything you have learned to grow the game. Again, implementation, implementation, implementation is the key. Here's something that you guys must make your personal mission. Whatever you learned at a community level, you must be able to implement what it is that you learned. And Katrina, who gave us quite a very brilliant set of questions, says that this conversation was very productive, and she is very encouraged and congratulates you, the panelists, for being able to answer the questions. And she says, thank you for taking the time to ask the questions. Your insights are truly valuable, and you will undoubtedly contribute to the growth and success of Zambian basketball. She appreciates your willingness to share your experiences, something that is very, very, encouraging. And thank you very much for just coming through, Katrina, and giving us the opportunity to interact with you, and of course participating actively. Kuda, Ephraim, everybody else that was watching, thank you very much for taking the time to watch Off the Court. And to all of you guys, I'd like to say this is not the first nor the last of our interactions. So we will again at a later stage get back to you and find out what it is that you're doing with the knowledge that you gained, and And when I say what it is that you're doing, I mean specific things that you're able to tell us. Remember, the whole world is watching you right now, and they're looking keenly to see what you're going to do with the knowledge that you learned. From me, Wenson Mavoro, it is
Just a quick one.
good night.
Before you leave,
Okay.
we just wanted to
Okay,
announce
please go ahead.
yeah, we just wanted to announce that the same way we had our program there and we traveled, there's a team from San Antonio that's coming on the 14th of this month.
Wow.
So they're going to be in Lusaka, Copperbelt, and Livingston. So the dates will be shared with you so that you can share on your socials. And we are inviting people to come through and interact with some of the coaches that we interacted with. And they're going to bring young coaches as well to go through the same thing that we went through. So just an announcement. 14th of
Okay.
April. Or is it no 17th
Okay.
of April? They fly in 17th.
17.
Okay, yeah, 17th it is. I can see here Harrison Banda talking about 17th. Okay, so thank you very much, Chalwe, for that important announcement. So all of you people in the basketball world, the American Entourage will be in Zambia interacting with different segments altogether. And of course, there will be time where the knowledge that was given to our friends here will be shared to all of you people in those specific regions that Chalwe mentioned. So please mark your calendars and be in touch with these people. You can reach them on their Facebook pages: Harrison, Augustine, Zico, Chimwemwe, Chalwe, Coach Katambe, Felistus, who couldn't join us today because of network issues, and of course other people that were part of this team that could not join tonight because of, you know, power issues and also network issues. But we're so privileged and glad that we had the bulk of the team that traveled to be able to share their experiences with us. And people, I must mention, you know, enjoyed this conversation, and we're looking forward to having more of these conversations, as efficated by Mr. Kataleko Mateus, who says, thank you for this today. Enjoyed the show today. Well done to all involved. So big up to yourselves, you guys. We appreciate all of you, and we continue to watch and see how you'll be doing to improve the game of basketball. As you can see, Coach Katambe is with us there, but unfortunately we were not able to get much from him because of audio issues. Too much witchcraft in Kabata there, you know. Anyway, I'm just joking, don't mind me. But we will continue interacting with these people on a different level, and we will continue watching you. From me, Wenson Mavoro, once again, good night and enjoy yourselves. We will continue talking basketball on off the court and tackling different topics. And as I always say, this is your platform. So if there are topics that you wish we could delve into or address, please feel free to suggest. And you can do so on my page, Facebook page, Wenson Mavoro, on my Twitter page under the same handle, Wenson Mavoro, also on YouTube under the same handle, Wenson Mavoro. Make those suggestions and we'll be able to bring those topics and converse accordingly. Good night and see you next